Hey guys, this is Corey Fishman with Daily Fantasy Insider. I'm back today with Caleb Dameron. I'm our NBA department manager, and we're back today to crush another Boom Fantasy slate. Yesterday, Preston and I, I'd say we had a pretty good slate. We nailed a lot of the picks, and Caleb and I want to do that for you. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Caleb?
Hey guys, my name is Caleb Dameron. I work for Daily Fantasy Insider, and I'm happy to get things started for us today.
Awesome. So why don't we just jump right into it, man? I'm happy NBA's back. It felt good yesterday. Watched some games. I wasn't bored. Didn't have to throw on the Olympics.
No,
Uh, uh, all right. So first we have Andre Drummond. Oh, sorry, actually we'll start with points. We have Kyrie Irving, DeMar DeRozan, Dennis Schroeder, and Miles Turner. So first, in my opinion, I think we just rule out Miles Turner because he hasn't been seeing more than like 25 minutes consistently, and there's just not a lot of upside there. Atlanta looks like they might buy out Ersan Ilyasova, which is going to hurt their scoring a lot. It just doesn't seem like he's going to be able to compete there. Dennis Schroeder's a little bit of a wild card. We can see him get
yeah,
that 25-point upside.
good
But
scorer.
dude, Kyrie Irving and DeMar DeRozan are just staring at me right now. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, those guys are the two juicy picks. I think I'd say at this point. Kyrie, I mean, he's known for being an elite scorer at this point, and the fact that if Marcus Smart plays tonight, it might hurt him a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be too much to move us off of him, especially with DeRozan as a good option too. But those two are a toss up. But like you said, I think DeRozan had two monster games against um, Milwaukee before, so see if you can keep it going. I mean, normally people could struggle with those wing guards, but the history before could prove that he's a great scorer against them. So
Yeah, you make a great point that Marcus Smart coming back may hurt Kyrie Irving just a bit. We don't know what kind of minutes Marcus Smart will play.
yeah,
Yeah, DeRozan might be that option for me. I think if I'm multi-entering, I kind of want maybe 3 shares of DeRozan. I think that's the way I'll go today.
hmm
But he's probably my leading candidate there. Um,
yeah,
you
I
definitely
definitely,
agree?
I think I would agree he's the safest option, and then I would maybe just either split your shares between Kyrie and Schroeder, or maybe lean a little bit heavier with the Kyrie. I don't think Schroeder you have to have a share of him, but if you wanted to go that way, you could.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So why don't we just go ahead and go to rebounds? We have our top two guys for points. We have Gortat and Howard playing in the same game. Jonas
Mm.
Valanciunas going against Milwaukee, and Andre Drummond going against Boston. Does anything stick out for you right here?
For me, I think Drummond's basically safe for a floor of about 15 rebounds. I think Howard had 15 rebounds last time out against Gortat, so those two right there are probably the two that I would lean towards the most. Drummond, I mean, he could have the rebound, he could be the rebound king this whole year, so I would like his upside, but I think you definitely want to get some shares of Howard in there.
Yeah, Jonas Valanciunas kind of reminds me of the situation that we had last night with Enes Kanter, and that was he'll jump right out and get you 6 or 7 boards right away, and then where'd he go? And that's the
Yeah,
kind of guy that he probably won't see more than 25 minutes. And while he will make probably in the beginning, you'll be like, wow, why didn't I take him? I really don't see him getting more than 10 or 11.
hmm
Drummond, interestingly enough, since Blake Griffin has come to the team, his rebounds have skyrocketed, but his assist rate's gone down. So we know that Drummond is near the hoop more often and passing less. You've got a slower paced game. Um, so Drummond and Howard definitely. Gortat's not going to see too many minutes tonight.
yeah.
He and Mahimi will be battling Howard all night. Um, Here, I think all I want is Drummond. I just think he's got that 20 rebound, 2020 upside tonight.
Yeah.
Um, what about you? Are you all in Drummond, or you are getting some shares of Howard?
I think I'd probably definitely, if I was multi-ring, I would probably do 90% Drummond. I mean, I think he's the rebound king this year with all the centers, and he's just shown he's got a floor of about 15 rebounds, and that's basically that's pushing it for a lot of the guys that are in that column. So I think Drummond's the safest option and the best option on that spot.
Yeah, and we do want to remind everybody that the jackpot is a little different than the normal contests where going contrarian can win you extra points. But in the jackpot, if you go contrarian and you completely miss, then you have no shot at winning the jackpot. So when we have an option like Drummond here, where
Seems
Howard
optimal.
could eclipse him, but Drummond has got to be your optimal guy.
Yeah.
That's where Caleb and I are probably going to lean tonight. So let's go into assists. We have Kyle Lowry, Kemba Walker, Ish Smith, and Kent Bazemore. This one's interesting to me. We don't have any high assist guys. Like, these guys aren't going out there averaging a double-double. We have mostly scorers. Yeah, I mean, Bazemore really won't have the ball in his hands much with Dennis Schroeder back. I think that's just, he's done. Ish Smith is like, Detroit's running about 3 point guards right now. He's really hard to say he'll get, more than, I'd say, 5 or 6 max. And then you got Lowry and Walker, who are basically both averaging 6. This is a toss-up. I don't know if you found anything in your research today that leads you to one, but this might be a toss-up for me.
The only thing for me is just historically, large sample size, you got Walker, who he struggles a little bit more away from home, and I think he's on the road tonight, so that would just give me maybe just a tick of an edge towards Lowry. But I think those two guys are the two options that are just the hardest to choose from in that spot. Ish Smith, like you said, the rotation's too tough to predict right now.
That's interesting. The Kemba Walker has some of the biggest home and road splits in the NBA, and Charlotte is a completely different team on the road. Both teams are on back-to-back, too, so there's no advantage there. Milwaukee and Toronto both rested. Yeah, I mean, if we're going safe, we go Kyle Lowry. I might want a share of Kemba, maybe not more. But we'll see. It might be a game-time decision for me there.
Yeah. I know Satoransky is known to be a little bit tougher of a defender. He hasn't been in a huge small sample size since he's come in for John Wall, but he's known to be a little bit better defender, so that could help out Lowry's case a little bit too.
For sure. That's a great point. And then lastly, we'll jump into the Greek Freak, guessing his points. Man, you got to love that. What are you thinking here?
Oh, man, he's a fun one, but anywhere between 24 to 28, I'd say. I would probably go the upper area just for upside and go with 27.
Yeah, that was pretty much my exact projection for him. The good thing is he is way more predictable than your James Harden-esque player. But he hasn't done too well against Toronto. If we look at just straight fantasy points, he's been averaging about 42 his last 2 games. So correct me if I get this wrong, but I think OG Anunoby, or however you pronounce his name, will be on him. And he's done a pretty good job defending him in the past. So I think we can go for that lower range that we're saying. 24 to 27 sounds good. We'll have a high-scoring, fast-paced game here. So I'm liking that. I do want to go ahead and jump into the late night slate.
Yeah, let's switch over to that one.
So here we have projecting points. And first thing I see is our DFI must-have Lou Williams standing there in the clear. And we have him, CJ McCollum, Nikola Jokic, and Derek Favors. Got to be a little biased here. I've been researching all day, and Lou Williams just stood out to me far and away. CJ McCollum is going to have to go against that tough Utah defense. No one really likes that. They're going to Utah. Yep. That's just disgusting. That slow-paced game in Denver with San Antonio. Jokic does, have triple-double upside, but that triple-double could come with 10, 10, and 10. I know you're a Denver fan, so if you think I'm wrong, let me know.
Yeah, the thing with Jokic is he's going to spread it around a lot of times when he gets that triple-double. He's evening it out in a lot of areas. Sometimes he has more rebounds or assists than he has points, and that's just how he is. Lou Williams, I think, sticks out the most to us just from doing research today. He stood out in our research, and he's actually a daily fantasy insider must-have officially, if Corey wants to touch more on that.
Yeah, so I actually wrote up Lou Williams as our must-have tonight, and I'm looking at the chat, and I'm seeing some people ask questions about if DFI costs anything. And our must-haves are free, and you can find those at dailyfantasyinsider.com, and those are for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Fantasy Draft. And Caleb and I have been working all day on providing those for you. They're players we think you should just lock and load, and Lou Williams was one of those tonight. And he's got an incredible matchup against Phoenix. He'll likely be guarded by, I'd say, Devin Booker when he's on the court, as Lou Williams will be the first to check in, or he could start with Danilo Gallinari looking a little questionable tonight. And
Yeah.
this is just the perfect matchup for Lou Williams to explode. I don't even want to look at the other guys. I just kind of want to pick him and move on.
Yeah.
Seems like Caleb's there with me.
Yeah, the game's projected to score 230 total points. So I mean, he's a very clear-cut option, I think, in this category.
It's
So
a
I would roll
lot of
with him.
points.
I think he's optimal.
Yeah. So then let's hop into rebounds. Got Jokic again. We got Rudy Gobert in that Portland game. Paul Gasol in the same game as Jokic, and Nurkic facing off against Rudy Gobert. In my eyes, Rudy Gobert is an incredible defender. I think Utah is
Hmm.
either ranked first or second in defensive efficiency when he's on the court, which is absurd. Which makes Nurk a really tough play. The guy doesn't see a lot of minutes. They really monitor him. He's like a 25-minute max type player. Same with Paul Gasol, older guy playing in that altitude. It just doesn't seem like a great play. And
Yeah.
do you have a favorite between Jokic and Gobert? Are you biased here? What are you thinking?
Um, yeah, I think we can rule out Gasol and Nurkic. I think Nurkic will struggle a little bit with Gobert's defense, and Gasol's already played against Denver 3 times, and he hasn't even seen double-digit rebounds in any of those matchups. So I think it's definitely between Jokic and Gobert. It's it's a little bit of a toss-up between those two. I would almost split the entries there, but if you want the upside, max upside, I think Jokic might be our guy there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. This is another one of those where maybe a share or two of Gobert would be nice. Utah and Portland's a pretty close spread. Ricky Rubio will be back. He and Gobert have a great correlation together.
Yeah.
That's one thing we do want to think about. Donovan Mitchell will still be a focal point in the offense, but he won't have the ball in his hands as much as he did when Ricky Rubio was out. So I do agree with Caleb that Jokic is going to be our favorite. But I think if we're multi-entering, getting a share or two of Rudy Gobert is important here.
I think you definitely need to. I think his last game, he had 17 rebounds, and I think that might be his season high. So he's coming off a huge game already. So I think
He's been on
gotta
fire.
be considered. Yeah, he's got to be considered. Now that was without Rubio too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's interesting.
And then looking at assists, right away, Tony Parker coming off the bench, averaging 4 a game. It's not too pretty. Will Barton, it does say he's questionable. Caleb, you have any more info on that?
I think he's trending towards playing. It's tough to call with Malone. He could rule someone out right before game time. That's just how the Coach Malone does it in Denver. But I think Will play. I think he can still be considered. But I think those top 2 options are what we want to be looking towards.
So then,
Lillard and Payton.
So then this gets interesting. We have Elfrid Payton in our favorite game stack tonight for DFS purposes. And then we have Damian Lillard, who has actually been incredible against Utah. He's put up 80 fantasy points, 45 fantasy points, and 61 fantasy points against them. Now, a lot of them have been off shooting, but something to get about Utah. I don't know what it is, but he likes playing them. My gut tells me Payton here. I think at home against the Clippers, he might be a little tired from last night. He'll be working with Devin Booker, T.J. Warren, 2 guys who can score when they're open. I personally think I'm all in on Elfrid Payton. Do you like Damian Lillard at all here, or what are you thinking?
Like I said, that game is projected for so many points and such a fast pace that it's really tough to ignore some of the other options, especially going optimal with the jackpot. So I think Payton's our best option there. But like I said, it's okay to get a share or two of Lillard with the good track record there. So that makes complete sense too.
Yeah, tonight does seem to be a lot harder than last night. Maybe it's because there's so many games. But last night, Preston and I were just like, take this guy, take this guy, take this guy. But tonight, it's like really close projections. One thing to keep note of here is that the Suns just released their backup point guard, Josh Gray, and their other backup, Tyler Ulis, is questionable for this game. So Payton could be forced into a lot of minutes, which does give him that extra upside. So I think that needs to be highly considered. And then speaking of Damian Lillard, we have his projected point total for tonight. What are you thinking here?
Since he does have the really strong track record with total points against him before, I think he had 39 real points against him last time. So I definitely think you got to give 30 plus upside or point upside a consideration here. I think a max would be 32 for me tonight.
Yeah, the tough part here seems to be, Damian Lillard is that James Harden type player. He'll go ahead and drop, he averages 26.
Mm-hmm.
He can drop 20 a night, or he can
Mm-hmm.
drop 50 as well as his mixtape against Sacramento. Um, so this one's tough. Going to Utah makes it a little more difficult, even though we've seen he has success there. I do like maybe like the 28 to 32 range
Mm-hmm.
if we're multi-entering.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too high, although I feel like he could easily drop 40 tonight.
Yeah.
He's not going to be in my DFS lineup, so I'm really hoping he doesn't.
Me too.
But would you say that 28 to 32 range makes some sense for you?
I think 28 to 32 is a good spot. I think he's locked for at least 20 points. So 28, that's a good floor.
Awesome. Well, that's going to be the show for us today, guys. As always, love being here. For those of you who are interested in daily fantasy sites such as DraftKings, FanDuel, and Fantasy Draft, head over to Daily Fantasy Insider to lock in our must-haves for tonight's slate. As well as those of you who are DFIU customers, head over and join Caleb and I in the war room. Good luck, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Good luck, everyone.